Some people would say that.
This narrative that's repeatedly put out that abortion is unsafe is completely wrong. Abortion is safe. It's a very, very safe medical procedure. It's safer than pregnancy and safer than childbirth. And about the question about the appropriateness of these laws. So the women that are being prosecuted, they're being prosecuted under a law dating back to the Victorian era. It's a law that came in 1861. And under this law, for an illegal abortion, a woman can face up to life imprisonment. Now, that's one of the most severest penalties for illegal abortion in the world. That's more severe than Afghanistan, Syria, and South Sudan.
So what about that point that was made that babies, people have an issue with babies can survive at 24 weeks and they can be aborted at 24 weeks?
So I think,
how can you make that distinction?
I think, you know, as a society, you know, as Mara said, 1 in 3 women will have an abortion at some point in their life. And I think as a British society, we've accepted that abortion is something that does happen, that many women at some point will need an abortion, want to have an abortion. And the question that we need to ask ourselves is, firstly, is it ever OK as a society that we force a woman to continue a pregnancy, to give birth against her will? And then, you know, and then the second question that we need to be asking, that this conversation that we've been having now for years now, where we try to demonise women who have had an abortion, stigmatise abortion, it's really, really harmful towards women. And the counter to that is, if we try to restrict women from having an abortion, which has happened in some countries where you restrict access to abortion, like Poland, for example, we've seen women die. In recent years, there have been women that have died because their access to abortion is restricted. So I believe that we have to put women's lives first.
So, Lois...
Sure. Well, let's jump into some of the context of the current UK law as it stands, because here you can get an abortion for almost any reason up to 24 weeks and up to birth already, if there's a risk to the life of the mother, if she's at risk of grave injury, or if the baby has a fetal anomaly or a disability. So those are already very, compared to the rest of the world, very extreme laws in terms of abortion access. Now, what the proposed change to decriminalise abortion would do, would make it legal for women to be performing their own abortion at home, very dangerously, on their own, in their bathrooms. Now, this has happened in an increase, and we've seen this increase in investigations into abortion because of the Pills by Post scheme that was brought in 2021. Now, this scheme allows abortion providers to send pills by post just as a result of a phone call from a woman saying that she is less than 10 weeks pregnant. However, she may not be, and in those situations, having accessed pills, she may therefore
let's get a response from Mara. Yeah.
Sorry, these pills, mifepristone and misoprostol, are on the World Health Organization's list of safe and essential medicines, even outside of clinical settings. These pills are safer than paracetamol and safer than Viagra, okay? And if you start telling people, don't take these safe pills, I have to tell you, as somebody, again, I've been helping people from Ireland, Poland, Malta, countries with very restrictive abortion laws. If you take away the safe abortions with pills, it's going to result in unsafe methods. The other thing is, we're talking about a teeny tiny percentage of people who are taking pills beyond a certain point in time. We're talking about 60 investigations out of how many abortions in England and Wales, 200,000. And I just really feel that we have more important things to be doing with our justice system and everything else than going after 60 women.
Yeah, but we have to make this very clear. Like, your views on abortion, it's completely valid to have your own views on abortion, but we shouldn't be putting out the information that abortion or the medical pills that we use in abortion are unsafe, because they are safe. So we need to make sure that we're very clear about that.
Well, as a doctor, you also know that the risks go up later in pregnancy, and having those abortions on 6 to 9-month-old gestated babies is much, much riskier.
And of course, and that's what's been looking. Of course,
that's what the law would change.
But that's the problem with the law, though. So let's say a woman's later on in pregnancy, and once, you know, is struggling with a pregnancy, we need those women to be able to go to their healthcare professional and have those conversations. And if we restrict abortion access and those women feel isolated, feel like they can't speak to anyone, then that's where they may be doing things to themselves that are unrisky. So it's really, really important that at whatever state that women feel that they're able to go and speak to their healthcare professional, and the laws deter that.
I just want to understand how somebody can justify an abortion at 22 weeks, 23 weeks, all the way through to birth, when we know that babies are surviving at that age. Okay, they are fully formed human beings, and a woman is taking the life of that child.
And that question wasn't really answered before.
I can answer that for you. You know, first of all, the vast majority of abortions happen at early stages. So 94% of abortions happen in the first trimester.
But we're talking about 24 weeks.
98% happen before 18 weeks. There are a few cases and they are often very harrowing and complex cases where women may need an abortion at a later stage, maybe due to medical problems with her, problems with their pregnancy.
And in those cases, they'll need a doctor, won't they?
These are very, very difficult situations. And yes, it's really important that they get the support of their healthcare professionals.
But they won't in this amendment because you will be criminalised.
This is incorrect. So there's a common misconception that decriminalisation means deregulation, and that's not the case. So there's other countries...
abortion up to birth for any reason.
Other countries, such as Canada, that have decriminalised, and you know, the sky didn't fall in. You know, late abortions didn't suddenly increase. And what happens is when we can decriminalise abortion, it means that women can go to their healthcare professionals. Abortion will still be regulated like other forms of healthcare, but it means that us as healthcare professionals can fully support the woman to do what's right for her and for her life and her health.
That's a fair point, isn't it? Just respond to that quickly.
Well, so decriminalisation is going to be allowing abortion in reality up to birth for any reason. You just admitted to me that a 22-week-old pregnancy is a fully formed baby. So what you nodded as I was saying it's fully. Do you not agree? Then it's a fully formed baby.
I don't want to get stuck on this point. Can you just respond to it?
It's a fully formed baby at 22 weeks. So what we are saying is that we are happy with women ending the lives of unborn babies at 22 weeks.
Let me just move on to that. So, Lois, when we think about Carla Foster, so she was jailed last year for terminating her pregnancy after the legal time. That was, of course, overturned by the judge. And the judge said we need compassion, not punishment. Isn't that what these women need? They need compassion.
Yes. What we can see with that ruling is that the law allowed that flexibility in Carla Foster's case, that her sentence was overturned. So we already see that there is room for compassion in the law. But what Carla Foster's true trauma was, and she has talked about that traumatic experience of self-performing her own abortion because of pills she accessed through Pills by Post at a very late stage of 32 weeks in her pregnancy. And she talked about the horror that she is still traumatized with for that. I want to prevent women from going through this, and that's why I want to keep that law in place to protect women and their babies at that late stage from going through a traumatic abortion.
So, Mara, I just want to hear from Mara.
I'm sorry, there's already... Oh, sorry.
Well, I was going to ask you a question, actually. Just think about faith. So as a Jewish woman, in your religion, you believe that the fetus only becomes a person at birth. But can you understand that there are people from the Christian faith who actually believe that fetus is a person?
So, first of all, there's nothing in any religious text about abortion specifically. There's just not. And people do have their different beliefs, but that's the whole point. People have their different beliefs. So the decision that I make about my body and my pregnancy is going to be the decision that is right for me and for my faith and for my family and for my situation. And I'm not going to make that decision for either of you or for you or for you and your family. And that's what I don't understand is we have to allow people to make their own moral judgments based on factual information and not red herrings like abortion up till birth, because nobody is going to do that for fun.
So it's the individual's choice. Where do you stand on that?
And I think the individual needs to understand exactly what's happening. The NHS tells us at 12 weeks in pregnancy, the baby is fully developed. They have everything that they need. They just need time to grow. So what we are talking about is ending the life of an innocent human being. And that is a very moral, ethical decision that someone needs to make. And we cannot hide that fact from women.
And so both the votes, we're running out of time, but just both the votes are in Parliament are going to be free votes, so they're not going to be party political. What would be your concerns if the amendment to decriminalise women who have an abortion after 24 weeks, if that isn't passed, what would your concerns be?
Yeah, my concern is that we've already seen this. Women are being investigated, being criminalised. We've had one woman was given a prison sentence for ending a pregnancy. And I just think, whatever your personal views are about abortion, everyone has their different views. I don't think it's in anyone's benefit as a society that we're sending women to prison for choosing to end their pregnancy. And for these women, as we've talked about, there's some women who would be in difficult circumstances. We need to be showing these women compassion and care. We shouldn't be criminalising these women. And that right to that bodily autonomy, that right to choose what happens to your body, that right to not be forced to have a pregnancy against their will, that's a right really important in our society. We need to respect that right, and we need to allow women to make the best decisions for them, for their health and for their lives.
And I think that's where we're going to have to leave it. We're out of